26F girlfriend doesn't know how much money I 29M have. I 29M have been dating my girlfriend 26F for a little over a year, and she has no clue how much money I have. Backstory is I was a biofuel engineer and sold my patent to a prominent company in the field for 8 figures. I come from a poor background, so I'm very frugal with money. I still drive my 27-year-old truck from high school. I was living in a house with 2 roommates when we first met. We recently got our own apartment together and split all bills down the middle. I don't really own anything expensive besides my PC. I took a consulting job because I got bored of not working. She knows I make a decent living from my current job. She herself is a chemist and does well for herself. I feel like if we end up getting married, she will eventually somehow find out. When and how should I bring this up to her? Thanks for everyone's input in advance. In my opinion, you should discuss finances before getting married. You should have a plan for your future together. Your retirement savings, your investments, buying houses, etc., before you commit to each other. If you plan to get married, finances have to be discussed transparently. You cannot hide the money, and it is a recipe for disaster. Make sure you have a fair prenup in place. 8 figures? So you have tens of millions in the bank? I feel like if we end up getting married, she will eventually somehow find out. The wording on this is very sketchy, my man. This is the type of thing where the sooner you let them know, the better it will be. After a proper vetting period, which you live together, it is already causing you stress, and that won't go away. Have you guys not started discussing future goals? Whoa. You imagine not telling her even if you get married? Do you not trust her? If you are seriously considering marrying her, then you should be able to trust her with that information. Base her on her being successful in her own right. She's probably a keeper. You are likely the one with trust issues. I wouldn't care about the financial side of this, splitting bills, etc., if I were in her shoes. But I'm financially independent. I think my issue would be on the practical side of things. If money is no issue, why are you watching me pay my student loans at an ungodly interest rate, as opposed to me investing in our family trust savings account every month? Or, hey, I told you this apartment would be better for us based on X, Y, see if we could only have afforded it. Why are you letting me drive 45 minutes to work, if you paying more for a better fit was a possibility? These are hypothetical situations. But for me, so long as our goals for our future and family planning weren't needlessly jeopardized or compromised in order to keep your secret, I wouldn't care. So many couples fight about money, and it's not just couples with no money. Transparency is always best in committed, long-term relationships. How did you decide to split bills down the middle? How did that convo go? I guess if she's not hard up for cash and you're not living extravagantly, she wouldn't feel the need to insist on a more equitable split of expenses. Do you think she'll feel taken advantage of when she finds out, though? That can be a possible opening. Sit her down and tell her you want to revisit the division of expenses and you feel like it's more equitable for you to take on more. If you agree, of course, because of income disparity. If she takes the thread, then tell her what you're comfortable disclosing. She's not your fiancé or wife yet, though, so you don't owe her full disclosure. It's not like you're watching her struggle while you're sitting on a pile of gold. She does well for herself too, by your own account. My ex inherited a lot of money, 7 figures, when we were together, and I always resented him for letting me split everything 50-50 and never giving me a break financially when I was doing all of the housework, grocery shopping, majority of yard work, etc. Relationships can be equal without finances being equal. I hope you can put some thought into what's fair for both of you. If she improves your life, maybe you can improve her life by making it easier for her to pay off her student loans by giving her a break on bills, etc. It's kind of bizarre you would think about marrying someone that you don't trust to know your finances. There is no way this is real. So you'd like us to believe that your net worth is north of $10 million as a result of a brilliant patent. And yet she is splitting the bills. And you have no idea how you'd possibly ever mention that you're enormously wealthy? And figuring, well, if we're married she might find out. Rage bait. Or you're some kind of really extreme Arrested Development case. Jesus Christ, people, not all women are gold diggers. You all are chronically online. Emo, this isn't something to do a big reveal for. If you all continue together, then the discussion on finances will come up. Just be honest. You're only a year into your relationship. So really, you don't have to tell her anything at all. However, as you're living together and splitting bills down the middle, depending on her personality, it can be taken one of two ways. She respects the fact that, due to your assets, you reasonably kept the information from her and lived normally 50-50 with her until you were sure she was neither materialistic nor money hungry. She's resentful in some shape or form that you guys split equally even though you could afford it easily. Personally, I believe that when you tell her should ultimately be down to you, as you best know how much you personally trust her and what type of person she is. But you should definitely tell her before you guys do anything serious like get engaged, married. Having the amount of money you have is a huge, life-changing thing. You live frugally due to your upbringing. But the idea of having that kind of money around or accessible can change people or make them loopy. Expectations towards what you should be doing or giving on special occasions could change, so be wary of that. Also, it's fair to be wary of the possibility of revealing what you have and then having someone brag about it to their friends. But definitely, as your relationship is only about a year old, you're not obligated to tell her everything about your financial situation at this moment. I know some people will say if you're living together, she deserves to know. But I get that these days, some people move in together before, without serious thoughts about the long term, so it says nothing to me about how close you are as a couple. If you already see this girl as down-to-earth future material, you might feel inclined to tell her sooner rather than later. Either way, the right, level-headed woman will understand your secret and why you held it back until you were sure you could trust her to deal with the information maturely, whilst a more fickle one would hold it against you and expect repayment in some shape or form over the course of your relationship. You're literally sitting on a secret that assures the life partner you choose and/or the family you may choose to have could be comfortable for life a couple of generations over, depending on how you choose to nurture it. So don't underestimate the effect or change this news could have on someone. You seem pretty grounded about money, so you'd be best off finding someone who's similarly grounded, rather than someone who's excited to spend it. Your GF sounds like she has her own career and things going on, so she's already self-sufficient, which is a good sign. The rest of it is really down to how you feel about her and the situation, your future. I was dating a guy who didn't disclose that he was a millionaire until after I broke up with him. The fact that he used his wealth to try to get back together made me feel sick, and I could never give him a chance again. I personally would mention it right before marriage. When and how should I bring this up to her? You've been with her a little over a year and still don't know how to be upfront with her about your finances. Come on, man. Just tell her. It's not a difficult conversation to have. Sold my patent to a prominent company in the field for 8 figures. In USD? When and how should I bring this up to her? As soon as possible. At this point she has proven to you that she isn't after you for your money. I think it's okay to wait a year. So you can know this. But it's time to tell her now. She will eventually somehow find out. You should aim to be fully transparent with your wife and not be in the mindset of, is there a way to hide this? Only thing I wouldn't do is let her spend money on me or be cheap. Learning you are loaded is going to be a shock, but if she has to think about all the times she shelled for you. The subject of how much money you have is bound to come up when you ask her to sign a prenup. If you have any sense at all. I can't believe you have tens of millions and you're splitting 50-50 on an apparent with her. In fact, I call BS. Why would you live in a rented place? I don't know why, but I would be so mad if I found my boyfriend hid something like that from me for so long. I would tell her ASAP. I feel like you're supposed to be very honest in a relationship. And that this is a big secret to keep. You don't need to be afraid to tell your GF you have a lot of money. It would be very bad for you to hide this before you get married to her. At this point I think it's okay to let her know that you made a ton of money from your previous job. And you didn't want this to be a surprise later down the line.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epicaricast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.